The man has killed the myth. The dream, the meme, is over. One of Trump's early mythographers, American druid and author of The King in Orange, John Michael Greer, who's a very interesting guy, said the following about Trump during a recent interview.
It is very important to realize how much of our political life is a matter of projections, of mythic images. Watching Trump go from the kind of trickster figure, symbolically orange, interestingly, and some, to the kind of golden figure that he's trying to become. You've probably seen the Italian float of the God Emperor with the Twitter sword in one hand and so on.
Which takes a kind of amalgamation of mythic imagery,
exactly.
doesn't it?
He has taken on that golden solar archetype and is shining light into all kinds of dark corners. 1,000 years from now, the figure of Donald Trump may well be, one of there will be like legendary sagas, produced during the deindustrial dark ages to come by the descendants of today's rap musicians. It will be completely garbled, of course, and it will have no more to do with the actuality of Donald Trump than the legends of King Arthur have to do with the rather coarse and hard-bitten Roman British general who set the myth in motion. But he'll be in there somewhere because he's become that kind of magnet for emotions, for that image of solar glory. And
Greer is right that Trump was a mythic projection, but he precisely, I think, misses the myth's conclusion, its meaning, as it is now unfolding. The Trump arc isn't of a trickster Caesar who brought the golden age, orange, as in orange man bad, fake tan, American kitsch, to gold, genuine statesman, Caesar, builder of fortress America, trickster, disruptor to real leader. That's not where his story goes. After other betrayals, like support for increasing legal immigration,
we need a lot of people coming in. We're going to have jobs like we've never had before.
An ever more neocon foreign policy, handing the nation over to Silicon Valley oligarchs, he's now explicitly turned against a core part of his own mythos by denying the Epstein trafficking story and excommunicating supporters still asking questions. He calls them past supporters and weaklings. Still, like Spaniards during French occupation who believed their king, Fernando VII, had been kidnapped by Napoleon when in reality he'd more or less chosen a comfortable exile in France, at a palace from which he wrote fawning letters to his captor, congratulating Napoleon on his victories over his own people, also ratting out a British agent who offered to help him escape. Part of the MAGA base would rather think the swamp is now the one playing 4D chess and winning, than see their emperor naked. But pretending the king isn't responsible for the wrongs of his administration really only works when you can't read him taking the wrong side on social media. Even that derelict in duty Paris sojourning Fernando VII, sometimes dubbed the Longfor, ended up being remembered as the felon king, the criminal. Trump might remain the longed for many people, but that won't be the core of his legacy. He isn't the frog that turns into a prince. His is the opposite journey. The expected Sun King that turns out to be a swamp thing. To be fair, the optimism around Trump always relied on ignoring his past and really given unsavory connections and ideological ambiguity. The more convincing narrative would have been of a repentant insider turning against his class, rather than the perpetual secret outsider, which is how he was usually presented. Drain the swamp, his famous slogan, meant or could have meant bring to light what is hidden, and archetypically tame the wilderness. It married well with Trump's background as real estate developer who raises dwellings from the marsh, his Camelot at Mar-a-Lago, which means sea to lake. There were a lot of elements there to make him mythically suggestive to a lot of people. And it was always interesting that his younger supporters adopted the symbols of amphibious life, the frog and the toad. These are liminal animals. They know the waters, they know the swamp, but they also know the surface, they know solid land. They can therefore act as an agent of revelation, bringing up what is hidden, and that's often the case in folklore. In The Frog Prince, the frog precisely retrieves a golden ball, a solar symbol, from the waters. But crucially, it's an ambiguous symbol. It could be bringing something out from the swamp, or it could be leading you into it. By telling supporters to give up on liminality, on mission, on the idea of there being something to reveal, by telling them that they have to unsee the Epstein case, which he calls the Epstein hoax, and just accept his fusing of the state with big tech, for example, as America first, all the radicality that accompanied him is betrayed. trust the plan, get excited for next plan. The difficulty here is to counter cope without demoralizing. Of course, most of the base will stick with him, I imagine, but the energy won't be with a post-Trump party under his appointed successor, J.D. Vance or whoever else, or with some anti-Trump quasi-libertarianism like Musk's latest brand. The trickster turned out to show no hidden truth that only he, as former insider, secret outsider, could bring to light. Instead, he shapeshifted definitively into his final form as con man. American nostalgia's avatar, Trump, turned out to be the worst of the American soul, the confidence man, the huckster. The myth won't endure except maybe as a cautionary tale, as a purging against the willingness to be seduced by bravado, by the salesman, as instrument of radicalizing disillusionment. And that's important. We're probably going to see a post-Trump MAGA desirous of a more serious version of Americana. Whoever taps into that might yet capture the collective psyche with a better myth. Okay, just some quick thoughts about the trickster to Caesar to huckster transition that Trump, as archetype, as myth, has sort of unfolded in the space of really a very short period of time, which I think will have its impact on the American psyche. Thanks a lot for watching. Like and subscribe. Join me on Twitter, Substack, buy me a coffee, become a member of this YouTube channel if you'd like, and until next time.